How come the name? Well, I suppose it's pretty descriptive. I'm an old man and this is a bus. I'm an old man and this is a bus. I'm an old man and this is a bus. And this is a bus. G'day. I hesitated about doing a Christmas message because for many people Christmas is not necessarily a time for celebration. For many people it's exactly the opposite when they're reminded of how lonely they might be, or how they're separated from family or don't have a family at all. So I'm not going to talk about Christmas, but rather a bit of a wrap up of the year that we've had, at least from my point of view. I started making these videos back in August, I believe. And in the first one, it was really just an introduction, a kind of a get to know you kind of video. G'day, welcome to the Old Man on the Bus. I've made this video about 3 or 4 times. This getting comfortable with sitting talking to a camera takes a bit of practice. So I've made 2 or 3 and I really haven't been happy with any of those. But here we go, let's give it another shot. In the second one we covered the seat removal and also the removal of the rear bumper. And there we have it. That's the bumper off. You can still see there's a depression in the back. Let's have to see if we can, pull that out somehow. Otherwise, it's pretty good under there. In the third, we were hammering away at the rear bumper. And we covered the removal of the tail light as well. Once you've done that, it's as easy as just reaching around and popping it out. We took off the air conditioning cover, charged the battery. I got my license to drive the bus finally. We got Bob. Took the wheelchair lift out and then pulled up the floor. Now in the first video I said I had mentioned the reason for the name, the Old Man and the Bus, and I suppose that was in channeling my inner Ernest Hemingway, as I said at the time, who'd written The Old Man of the Sea. And I had a couple of trips away during the year. The first was to New Zealand when I went to visit my brother, and the second was to Tasmania where I went to visit my family, as did my son, daughter-in-law and grandkids. And on the second trip I managed to reread The Old Man and the Sea, which refreshed my memory about some of the challenges that the old fellow had faced. And that kind of reiterated for me that the choice of the name, The Old Man and the Bus, was a good one, given there being quite a few challenges. While in Tasmania, I caught COVID, and that knocked me down a fair bit, actually. Not that it was a bad dose or that I was at any risk at any time, but it was like getting a lengthy cold, so there was 2 to 3 weeks of a light cough, headache, fatigue, the usual kind of stuff that you might get with a cold. But it lasted probably longer than a cold, and the cold you might knock off in 7 days, 14, but I think the cough lingered for 3 to 4 weeks. And then the other challenge that I've also had to confront as well this year is a health scare, and at this stage I'm not going to really talk about the details of that, but there may be more about that in the future. And these are the kinds of things that any one of us might have to confront. Each of us is in a fairly fragile vessel we sail through life in, and you know, we are subject to the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And so any one of us may have to deal with these kinds of things, but they do tend to cause a diversion or preoccupation, you know, so they take your mind away from some of the things that you might otherwise do. And I suppose that's why the old man in the bus is particularly fitting, because along the way we have had some diversions and challenges as discussed in the various videos. The last 3 years have been very difficult for everybody. 2020, 2021 and 2022. So I'm thinking that 2023 has to get better. Looking forward to seeing you again in the new year.